of clicker training is conditioning the clicker. In order to condition the clicker, it is clicked and then Princeton is given a reward. In these trainings, Princeton was given a treat as the primary reinforcement, and the clicker was a secondary reinforcement. Soon, Princeton associated the sound of the click with the fact that he was getting a reward or a treat. Targeting was one of the easier behaviors to teach. The animal learns to touch a targeted area to receive a click and a treat. To teach Princeton this, I held my hand up to him holding the treat that he was able to smell. Every time he made contact with my hand, I would click and give him the treat. Eventually, he learned that every time he came into contact with my hand, he received the click and treat.
Touch. Did you do that with his back?
A free-shaped behavior is the reinforcement of a behavior that the animal already naturally does. For this, I worked on the command of sit. Every time that I found Princeton sitting, I would click and give him a treat. Eventually, he learned that this was a desired behavior, and when I commanded to sit, he would sit for the click and treat.
Sit.
Entering and exiting the carrier was one of the harder behaviors for Princeton to learn. To get Princeton comfortable with the carrier, I had to leave it in an approachable spot for several days. After he was comfortable with it in its presence, I began to put treats inside the carrier. When he would enter the carrier to get the treats, I would click. I would also click and give him a treat when he exited the carrier. Eventually, I started to add the command in and pointed to the inside of the carrier. When he went into the carrier after that command is when he would receive a click and a treat. I did the same method for him exiting the carrier.
In. Out.
For an additional behavior, I decided to train Princeton with the command up. After he learned targeting, Princeton would sometimes try and reach or grab for the treat that was in my hand. I found that if I placed my hand anywhere higher than his head, he would sit up on his back legs and he would wait for my hand to come back down. I chose to reinforce this behavior with this command of up, and I rewarded him every time he did this.
Up.
A second behavior that I taught Princeton was come. I taught him this behavior a little slower than the others. To do this, I would show Princeton a treat that I had, but I would not give it to him. I would back away from him, and then I would show him the treat again. As he started to approach, I would click and then give him the treat once he had arrived. Eventually, he connected that he would only get the treat if he came to me for it.
Princeton. Princeton, come. Come.
For another behavior, I did another free shaping. Whenever Princeton knew I had treats, he would try and jump up my leg or put his paws on my legs. I decided to free shape this by anytime he put his two front paws on my legs, I would say here, click, and give him a treat. Eventually, when I would go to give him a treat, I wouldn't give him the treat unless he put his two front paws on my leg. With this, he learned that putting his two front paws on my leg would give him a click and a treat.
Princeton, here.